doing voices or doing harmonies. Look, it happened. I went and used my Stevie Nicks voice later in life. So all the stuff that you do as play, as children, is prep for you growing up. So, you know, play. Have a great life, darling.
Thank you. You're my biggest hero.
Thank you.
Tracy?
Hi, I want to say thank you for everything that you do. Zeno was a huge part of my life growing up. I wouldn't be the same without it. I was wondering...
Why?
It was one of the shows that just really spoke to me about being strong and...
About what, sorry? About being strong?
About being strong and, you know, making a difference and just standing up and being a badass, effectively. But I wanted to know what got you started in your massive conservation efforts and your environmental stuff.
I don't know about massive. I do my little bit, but I'm, you know, just one person. What started it was I grew up in a country where skin cancer, we lead the world in skin cancer, and this is not a climate change related issue, but we have an ozone hole because of the whole world's use of CFCs and hairsprays, and I think it's changing now. They use CHCs or something, but the coolants in our refrigerators and all that stuff, when that gets out into the atmosphere, it destroys ozone. It can do 20 or 200 times its own weight and damage before it degrades, right? So I live in a country where we learned at an early age that what you do affects people a long way away. So we're all connected, literally. And then I was caught in Hurricane Katrina, or in the onslaught, and we had to evacuate the morning because we were such greenhorns, you know, we were like, we're gonna go to the something or other hotel and drink hurricanes through this one. And I woke up in the morning with a crazy hangover, turned on the TV at 6 a.m. They were like, it's Cat 5, get out. And I rang the producers and said, you know, we probably owe it to our kids to leave. And so we tried to get out of town, and there was global terror. If you've been in a place where everybody's trying to leave at the same time, it's shocking what happens to the breakdown of you know, the stresses on people, the way that people use the roads and the resources, the hoarding of resources. And I'm only talking about the first 11 hours before Hurricane Katrina became what we all know. And the thunderheads were chasing us on the road. It took us 11 hours to get the 60 miles to Baton Rouge. And the first 8 hours were gridlock. We were not going 1 mile an hour. So, so what I learned about this, apart from the fact that in a hurricane, the barometer, the air pressure, goes so low that for 2 or 3 days before you're going, God, my shoes don't fit. You're like, are my feet getting bigger? That's horrible, you know. My cap doesn't fit my head and my rings. Your body's swelling because of the low temperature, so you're really uncomfortable. Anyway, eventually you evacuate. You don't have enough gas in the car because you didn't anticipate this trip. You don't want to get out, even if you have money, you don't want to get off the road, out of the grid, because you'll never get back in to get gas. You need water, you need food. So you're living on like peanuts and chocolate because that's what's in your car, and it's salty and you need something to drink. There's no information. After water and food and toileting, what you need is information. And there is none because you can't ring out. And there's no radio. So I learned what global terror is and what increasing frequency and intensity of storms will mean to our cities and to the inhabitants. And the poorest people have no means of leaving, nowhere to go, no way to get there, and probably cannot possibly imagine a different scenario than whatever's coming. So we saw these little kids walking in the other direction, 13 years old, Scooby-Doo-Doo, with their little purses on their fingers in the other direction from the traffic, and you know they're going to spend the next 2 weeks on a balcony. You know, it's a bad situation. So, because massive climate change is utterly foreseeable, it is absolutely undisputed, except by lobbyists for oil companies, etc.
Right.
I think it is indecent for us not to be making the massive efforts we need to head off and give our children a better future and a less volatile climate.
Love that.
That's the short answer.
Lucy for president.
It's all about decency. It ain't politics, it's just decency.
Tyler, who do you have with you? What's your name?
Hi, my name is Shy, and I love you so much because I grew up with you. And I would like to know, since you were the baddest in playing Xena, would you ever consider playing Wonder Woman for the upcoming Justice League movie?
You know, yeah, sure, I'm in. It would be so fun if they rebooted it, because like Battlestar was so an amazing way that they rebooted that, right? It went from being this really fun, glossy show of whatever era, that must have been the 80s, I think, to being that dark, post-apocalyptic, heavy-duty exploration. So who knows what they could do with Wonder Woman, but in all seriousness, I don't believe that's going to happen because they'll get someone who's 27. Be realistic.
Well, so you have 2 more years until you're 27.
2 more years. 2 more years.
That's a great question. Tracy?